Hey everyone, welcome back with Abino Mac, where today we're gonna continue our playthrough of Plants vs. Zombies, Replanted, on the Nintendo Switch of course, and you may notice a little something different here if you're unfamiliar, is what I mean to say, with this game. It is now officially nighttime, as Crazy Dave, our neighbor here, is explaining. And yeah, essentially it is, now we are not going to get natural sunlight because the sun is not out anymore, so we have to rely solely on our sunflowers. And later on we even get another shroom. Yeah, like the nighttime's all about the mushrooms and stuff like that, and we got our puff shroom. Costs us absolutely nothing to put down, but obviously he has some disadvantages, and his disadvantage is the fact that he can only shoot at within particular range. I think it's only like 2 squares in front of him. But that said, I mean, he's still pretty great. It's almost in a way like a broken plant, because not only does he, he's free, but he also gets recharged pretty quickly. So pretty much, I mean, I think even 1 is good enough to take out most zombies, like the regular ones anyway. It's the special ones you gotta worry about, and then just stack up on 2 and you're usually good. Coneheads, on the other hand, yeah, they're not too great on those guys. But yeah, it looks like we actually get 3 squares before the zombies can get to us. But yeah, you can just, while you're waiting to save up on sunlight and stuff like that, you can just stack these guys all across the beginning of your yard before you get to the real stuff. And I feel like nighttime really shows you just how long it takes to get freaking sunlight I keep saying sunlight. It's just really sun, I guess, but it shows how long it really takes for the regular sunflowers, because I think it seems like, to me, it always is like an average of 2 sun before a sunflower, 2 sun dropping from the sky before a sunflower produces its own sun. I guess that's what I always notice, and you can notice that in the daytime too. But yeah, this is a classic right here. And of course, you also may notice those graves, and that's also exclusive to night. Yeah, those bastards, zombies. They found a way to invade my yard somehow. Yeah, we just somehow they just spawn in our yard, and at the final wave, they just rise from the graves. So essentially they're starting directly from those positions rather than just coming up with the rest of the guys and the flag zombies and stuff like that. And as you can see, we even got a new fellow. We got the newspaper zombie, and yeah, he starts out pretty slow. He's got that newspaper as a very weak defense, but oh man, then he gets pissed when you destroy his newspaper. And I don't know, I always love this guy. I love the design of him. I love how he's just in his underwear for some reason. Looks like he came literally straight from the toilet to come and eat our brains and stuff. So I don't know, just I think the designs of a lot of these zombies are also just really great and funny, and I think some of the best zombies in the entire game, some of the most memorable ones actually are in the nighttime nighttime levels. At least they start in the nighttime levels. But I don't know, apparently, I'm not too sure, because I've only played this game. I'm not really too interested in the rest of the series, but apparently these zombies are actually just kind of clones made by, the final boss of this game. And, I don't know, but then again, you see them come up from the graves here, and in the intro, when it's on the loading screen, you see that they come from the cemeteries and stuff like that to attack your lawn and stuff like that. So I mean, I think in the original game it was supposed to be like some weird purple gas, people speculate. Yeah, but I mean, that's just kind of what we see in the intro and stuff, and that's kind of what I seen on a Reddit post and stuff. And I think later on it's just shown that they're blatantly taken from like a laboratory and cloned and stuff, which makes, I think, sense. But it makes a lot of sense too when you see later on the boss fight. But yeah, I don't know, it just doesn't always make, it just kind of makes you wonder in the first game what the deal was and where they came from. And like, I guess, I don't know, the zombies, like, they're, even if they're clones, I mean, why are they zombies in particular, you know what I mean? But I don't know the origin here, I mean, there's plenty of zombie origins. Heck, there's even those zombies from way back in the day before they were eating flesh, where they were just mind control people and stuff. But now we got the sun shroom here, and it's just a cheaper alternative to the sunflower. And you know, it starts out where you get little sun from the beginning. You only get 15, but then eventually it grows into a normal size, and I mean, it's not too bad. I'd say it grows around the same rate as like a regular sunflower. It's just, you kind of gotta, it's a risk and reward thing. You know, you pay less to begin with, but then you gotta wait for the real reward. But I usually like doing 2 at once, to where I just you know, I get the, you know, the sunflowers and the sun shroom or whatever, and then you get double the sun eventually. And you know, especially on those later levels, you know, you're gonna need double the sun. I think I'm gonna do something different for this level. I'm just gonna see, can I just beat this level with just the, you know, the puff shrooms, the free guys? Oh yeah, now we're getting tested here. Got the cone heads coming in. Yeah, see, these guys are trouble. Alright, we got him, We're gonna get a really cool plant pretty soon, and it's gonna allow us to take care of those graves, the grave buster. And every time you take care of a grave with him, you also get a free coin, which is pretty cool. Which is my main reason why I love doing it. Like, I could usually, you know, give a rat's butt, you know, whether or not they just rise up from the dead like they do here, you know. It's usually not too much trouble. Although that said, I mean, sometimes you get the cone head, and if it's in the wrong spot, it can, you know, kind of mess you up a little bit. Yeah, see, look at them just clear those zombies out. Just building them up in my lawn. I think that the coffins, or not the coffins, the actual gravestones, I think they can only spawn like within the first 4 lanes of your lawn, but I could be wrong. Maybe it's the 5th, but they can't go past like at the halfway point, I don't think, in these games. And that's how it works with a few of those kind of like environmental hazards, we'll just call it for right now, because, you know, later on you'll know some other things that are like that. But I think daytime is the only level where there isn't some, like, you know, special spawn that, you know, monsters come in halfway through the map at the start of the final wave. Boy, look at that, buddy. Look at that. Just taking care of them with our free plants. But hey, I mean, that just goes to show too, you don't want to waste your sun right at the beginning, or else you might be screwed. But that wasn't the case this time. Like I said, this is only the 2nd level of nighttime, so we're doing pretty good. It looks like we have just enough distance to be able to take care of those cone heads. Those are the, I don't know, the jump from regular zombie to cone heads, I think it's even more than like double the health of a regular zombie with the cone head, so it's definitely a pretty big jump. But we're gonna see if we can just fill up the entire yard with these puffs. Uh-oh, we got a bucket head. These guys are serious. These are like, I think, 4 times the strength of a regular zombie. Look at that. We haven't even dented his helmet yet. There we go. But these puff shrooms are also a pretty good, it's kind of inhumane when you think about it, but they're a really good defense. You know, if you just have nothing, you gotta wait for sun to get something real down, you know, you can just keep putting these fellas down in a zombie's way. And, you know, they're good as like kind of like a, I guess like a plant shield or whatever. Like I said, pretty messed up, but I mean, you know, during the daytime they're asleep, you can't use your mushrooms, so I mean, maybe they don't feel the pain if you use them in the daytime. But I mean, with this kind of plant, I mean, they're not really worth it during the daytime anyway. Man, there's a lot of these bucket heads. They ain't playing around today, folks. They want these brains. Alright, well, I figured it's about that time, folks, for the question of the day. You know, I got nothing else really to say at the moment. So, you know, alright, this is actually getting pretty dangerous, I'm not gonna lie. We got the cone heads, the bucket heads, running down the same lanes. We're getting a little risky here, I'm not gonna lie. A little risky. It's getting a little knuckin' fucks. Alright, I think we handled it. That said, you know, it's pretty much halfway through the video almost. I think it's question of the day time. My question of the day. Plants vs. Zombies. Which is your favorite pea shooter? We got a few of them, you know, we got some that we haven't seen yet. I'll just level with you there. We got some that we haven't seen yet. However, if you play the game, you'll know a few of them. And, oh wow. Alright, so maybe this is actually a problem. But also, we have the regular pea shooter. We have the snow pea, which is probably my personal favorite. Then we have the repeater. We have the split pea. We have the three-peater, which is not actually really like how you would think with the repeater. It's actually like just you can shoot down 3 lanes rather than, you know, shooting 3 times in a row, which is pretty cool, you know, trick in my opinion. And then of course, you know, we got, which is technically not really its own plant, I don't think. It's like an upgrade. They have the Gatlin pea. Man, Crazy Dave ain't leaving me alone about this, but hey, I got the money to pay for the, you know, the slot here. And it starts out $750, which is cheap. But I think it's like $50,000 to get like the 10th, you know, slot in your inventory. It's something crazy. But yeah, I think Snow Pea's my favorite, I'm not gonna lie. I just love the slowdown effect that he causes. It's pretty broken, really. But now we gotta play serious here, folks, as we got a new zombie. We got the screen door zombie, which is a lot crazier than you would think. But the thing with that is that there's the fume shroom that we just unlocked. And that is that zombie's direct weakness. And we're kind of getting to that point where we're finding the zombies that always usually kind of have like a direct weakness associated with them. Screen door zombie, he has a shield. I think it's about the same level, I think. It's like it's kind of just essentially like a buckethead zombie, really. But unlike the buckethead zombie, he has a severe weakness to the fume shrooms, because the fumes just kind of go through that screen door, literally, and he can just kill them, you know, right up the riff without even, you know, having to destroy the door first. So, you know, it's the fume shroom in general is a pretty great plant, I'm not gonna lie. And, you know, he even has an upgrade that you can do pretty later on, which is pretty OP as well. Of course, you know, we're just starting out. Gotta take out these little fellers here, you know. Gotta build up our defenses here, because it's about to get all sorts of crazy up in here. Yeah, see, we got those little pockets of sun coming in. Always bothers my OCD when, you know, like, it's not the, you know, 50, 25, you know, 75, 100 and stuff like that when it comes to sun. Alright, now we got this jar head here, cone head. Yeah, you're gonna notice pretty quick later on. I think for the most part, I think it's like half and half, in which the game, like the level before they introduce a new zombie that will have a weakness, they'll give you the plant like they did in this case, but a lot of times they'll also just have you have to deal with that zombie to begin with, just like in the, you know, just have to deal with that kind of zombie. And, you know, just take it out manually through, like, you know, sheer freaking, you know, power of your infantry, you know, which is the hard way usually. But then you'll, you know, get the you know, the thing that combats it, you know, its weakness of that zombie, you know, within that level once you complete it. But I think more often than not, they actually give you the plant, and they even just, I'm not going to show up, but they have like the almanac, and you can just look at the zombies and it'll tell you, you know, the straight up weaknesses. But the first time you experience them in a level, for example, the screen door zombie, he'll show up in my almanac because he was, you know, showing up in the on the side there to where I can kind of prepare and, you know, my plants and what I want to use to combat that. But obviously, because I haven't actually quote unquote fought them yet, they only just show up, you know, their image and what they are, rather than, you know, telling me what their weakness is or whatever biography they have in this game, you know, for them. And the biographies are pretty, you know, funny, I think. And it's actually cool too. I have no idea why, but like they had for the longest time, it's like a free trial edition of this game. I don't know if it's up still, but I played it like plenty of times. And in that trial version, there's like differences to the final game. And one of those differences is for some reason, instead of it being the screen door zombie, it's the trash can zombie. And that's kind of cool, I'm not gonna lie. But at the same time, like, it doesn't make any sense to me. Like, why that would have been, like, the screen door makes perfect sense when you think about the fact that its weakness is the fume shroom. And it's like the trash can zombie, like, it's not that it's like immune to the fume shroom or like has the same, it's literally just the screen door zombie, but like his character model just carries around a trash can instead. And it's, I don't know, I don't really understand. Like, it would be cool if that was a variation in this game, but I think that's something they probably should have done. Is I have, you know, maybe it is, I mean, I doubt it, but it would be cool if like they have like the all the you know, like the variants that are used in other, like in the trial versions or earlier versions of the game of the certain characters, of like, I guess, the certain zombies and stuff like that, just so, you know, as like Easter eggs that you can kind of find. You know, trash can zombie being one of them, of course. There's a few others in like the trial version. One crazy zombie, honestly, but I don't know. I'll talk more about him when we get to him, which I think is gonna actually have to be at next episode, because obviously we're only doing nighttime 1 through 5. So we'll get there. We'll get there. You know, just gotta keep going. But yeah, now as I was mentioned earlier, this is obviously, I'm sure if you're watching the screen, that's the Grave Buster 75. You know, I think it has probably one of the coolest designs in the entire game. Remember when I first seen it, I was like, man, what is this? This has got to be an overpowered, this has got to be a monster plant. This looks awesome. And yeah, he just kind of destroys the graves there. There he is in action. Of course, like I said, you get some coins. It's only 10 cents. Or I guess, you know, $10 in this case, but, you know, I'm just kind of addicted to cash, collecting the cash. So, I mean, plus it's just good to, it's kind of just an incentive for me to kind of get rid of all the graves and stuff like that. It's also kind of like an OCD thing, like a completionist thing, but man, nothing is more irritating than when you put a grave buster down and they get eaten or something like that. So you gotta be, especially for those ones that like start off right at the beginning, you gotta be pretty careful with those. You know, take your time, make sure there ain't no more monsters coming, or if they are, you have enough, you know, power to be able to take them down once and for all. Yeah, I think the fume shrooms are very strong in this game too, as you can tell. I usually, you know, like to kind of wait until, you know, those the zombies pass the graves before I put them down, though. That's a smart thing to do. Of course, we gotta get the defense for this fella. I don't even know if that chomper's gonna get a chance to eat, if I'm being honest. I think my fume shrooms might be a little too strong. And they kind of have like a pretty similar thing to the puff shrooms, as you can tell, but I think they cover a little bit more range, and on top of that, you know, like I said, they're just much stronger, so you don't really have to usually worry about zombies getting too close to them. Let's see, is this? Oh yeah, see the screen door? He didn't even make it to the walnut. That poor Chomper's not gonna eat tonight, I guess. Not with those two guarding. Not in these shoes. But we're probably still gonna do it just for the backup. Just for the variety, folks. But this is what I love about the nighttime levels. They have cheap plants, and on top of that, I always double up on the sun flowers and sun shrooms and stuff like that. So it can get all types of crazy up in here. He's eating. Not sure if you guys even really get a good look at these guys eating too often, just because usually I always worry I should be putting like those chompers down like at the beginning of these levels, but and then kind of build my defense after that. But yeah, I don't know, I always just build up my, you know, artillery and, you know, get the shooters out there first, and I just have the chompers in there as insurance, you know, the insurance policy. And really, I mean, if we didn't have those pole vaulter zombies, you know, I wouldn't even put these puff shrooms down, but I don't want them to, like, just... Well, I mean, they don't really eat that often, so, I mean... I feel like I didn't really need that, but yeah, I have that OCD. I don't like it when the freaking plants... I like, as you can tell, I got my sunflowers, I got my sun shrooms, I got the 2 lanes of the fume shrooms, I got the chompers, then I got the walnuts, then I got the puff shrooms, right? It's all orderly. And, you know, that's just how it is. You know, I like it to stay that way. I don't like holes in my lawn. I don't like the frickin'... You know, I just like everything to be even Steven if I can, you know? It just feeds a sickness, you know what I mean? Alright, are they gonna kill him before he gets to that guy? Yeah. Alright, and we got all the graves. Alright, final wave. Let's see if we can fill up that second to last lane with these puff shrooms. Boy, look at the destruction. Alright. Oh, speaking of which, that's actually the almanac right there. I thought I already had it for some reason, but now we got our, you know, every, you know, 5th level, it's always some like special mini game for that kind of you know, can't think of the proper term right now, you know, that cycle, you know, day, night, whatever. So also we did walnut bowling during the day. That's exclusive to the daytime. And also we got the graves. Now we got Whack-A-Zombie, which is a pretty fun one in my opinion. I think it's even just made into a mini game later on. It's just a harder version, but pretty simple game. It's even easier. Like on PC, it's slightly harder, I guess, which is what this game was originally released on, because you actually have to click the button down, you know. Which actually, now that I think about it, I mean, I'm clicking the Y button down, so I don't know what the hell I'm talking about, but it just, you know what I mean. It just feels a little bit different with a mouse. Got to be a little more accurate, you know what I mean? Whereas this, you know, it's just kind of, I feel like a little more user-friendly, if that makes sense, ironically, with a controller. But I've always been more of a console gamer rather than a PC gamer, so I guess that's why things don't always feel as natural to me on PC and stuff. But yeah, I'm trying to take care of some of these graves once again for the money, but also just for the you know, just for the insurance policy here. And believe it or not, it's easier to get rid of entire rows rather than, you know, like for this example, like, yeah, there's like 4, actually there's 5 on the top row, but it's no big deal because, you know, it's still easier just kind of go back and forth rather than, you know, go up and down, up and down, up and down, stuff like that. It's not a difficult mini game, but, you know, you guys Get what I mean here. It's a pretty short one too. Alright, I kinda wanna drop another one though. Alright. We'll just put that there. Just in case something happens. Ah, I guess wrong. Oh boy! Ooh! Lots of bucket hats. All right, we got the potato mine. So that's it. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great day.